It began as a routine call to a Los Angeles tow yard. A car had been sitting for weeks, unclaimed, quiet, and beginning to smell. What police would find inside would not only shock the community, but ignite a case that continues to raise more questions than answers. On September 8, 2024, officers with the Los Angeles Police Department were called to Mansfield Avenue in Hollywood. A tow truck operator had reported a foul odor coming from the front trunk of a white Tesla. That vehicle, as records later confirmed, was registered to 20-year-old recording artist David Anthony Burke, better known by his stage name, David, the Houston-born singer behind the viral hit Romantic Homicide. When officers opened the trunk, what they found was devastating. Inside, wrapped in plastic, were human remains, later confirmed to belong to 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a missing teen from Lake Elsinore, California. The discovery would unravel a series of strange developments: a rented mansion in the Hollywood Hills, a landlord who took matters into his own hands, and a private investigator uncovering new details that could reshape the timeline of the case. The Tesla had been abandoned for weeks near a $3.64 million home in the Hollywood Hills. The vehicle was eventually towed to a yard where it sat unnoticed, until that fateful day in early September. Investigators quickly connected the car to David Burke, who had been renting the nearby home through his manager, Josh Marshall. Though David wasn't officially on the lease, he was living there, a fact that would later become important. Celeste's remains were in an advanced state of decomposition. According to the coroner's report, she had likely been dead for several weeks, perhaps even months. The cause of death was listed as deferred, pending toxicology and further analysis. Celeste had been reported missing from her home in Lake Elsinore 5 months earlier, in April 2024. At the time, she was considered a runaway. For months, her family pleaded for information, releasing photos and statements online. But nothing surfaced until the discovery inside the Tesla. David Burke had gained international attention with his music. His breakout single, Romantic Homicide, was a viral success, a melancholic anthem about heartbreak and despair. By 2024, he was preparing for another tour, working with a small management team and renting luxury properties in Los Angeles. But following the discovery of Celeste's remains, everything changed. David abruptly canceled his tour. Brand deals and promotional partnerships were suspended. Within days, he transferred ownership of 2 properties in Texas to his mother. He retained Blair Burke, a well-known Hollywood defense attorney who has represented figures like Harvey Weinstein. Despite the speculation, police have not named David a suspect, nor have they designated him a person of interest. Yet the silence surrounding his actions and the online evidence suggesting a connection between him and the 14-year-old victim has fueled widespread public scrutiny. Screenshots from Discord chats and old livestream clips began circulating online, showing alleged contact between David and Celeste. Some even suggested they shared identical tattoos, a small "sh" symbol inked on their fingers. There were rumors of a relationship, though those close to David insisted he believed Celeste was 19 years old. Meanwhile, social media users uncovered references to Celeste in one of David's unreleased songs, adding another layer of unease to the mystery. At the center of the investigation stood the Hollywood Hills mansion, a sprawling modern home with panoramic views of Los Angeles. David had been paying roughly $20,000 a month to stay there. The property belonged to Malden Truvanovich, a local landlord who managed several high-end rentals across the city. When police executed a search warrant on September 17th, they seized computers, electronic devices, and multiple security systems. Officers reportedly searched drains and plumbing for biological evidence, but to the landlord's frustration, he received no copy of the warrant and was never informed about what was taken from his property. Days passed, weeks went by. Still no updates came from the LAPD. Unwilling to remain in the dark, Truvanovic decided to take action. He hired his own private investigator, Steve Fisher, a veteran investigator with a background in missing persons cases. Fisher's involvement would mark a turning point in the case, one that began to shed new light on what might have happened in and around that property. According to Steve Fisher, his connection to the case was almost accidental. He had been working another missing person file at the time when the Tesla was first found. Initially, he thought the remains inside could belong to his own client. Once that possibility was ruled out, Fisher stayed close to the developing story. When the Hollywood Hills landlord reached out, Fisher agreed to assist. He quickly learned that David was not officially listed on the lease, a detail the property owner had never realized. The lease had been signed by Josh Marshall, David's manager. Still, David had been living in the home for months. The landlord's main concern was simple: to understand what police had taken, what they were searching for, and whether his property had been involved in a crime. Fisher's investigation revealed that the LAPD had conducted a forced entry search warrant while no one was home. No documentation had been left behind, no copy of the warrant, no inventory of items seized. According to Fisher, this prompted his team to file formal requests with the Robbery Homicide Division, seeking transparency on the process. Beyond the paperwork, Fisher began analyzing surveillance data, talking to neighbors, and collecting any footage that could clarify the movement of the Tesla. What he found next was critical. Through surveillance cameras from neighboring houses, Fisher and his team were able to track the Tesla's movements. They determined that the car had been moved in late July, several weeks before its discovery in September. By enhancing video footage and matching environmental details, Fisher concluded that the Tesla was already in a state of neglect when it was parked, coated in dust and showing no signs of recent use. The implication was that Celeste's body had likely been inside the car from the moment it was left there. Fisher shared these findings with the LAPD within 24 hours of their discovery. While he declined to publicly identify the driver seen moving the Tesla, he confirmed that the information had been handed over to law enforcement. When asked if there was evidence of Celeste's body being moved into the vehicle after it was parked, Fisher was clear: there is no evidence that her body was transferred before or after. The car had not been used for a very long time. He also noted that a red Tesla was discovered in the home's garage during the search, another vehicle linked to David's management team. According to Fisher, that red Tesla was still present as late as February 1st, 2025, suggesting overlapping timelines that investigators are now piecing together. One of the most intriguing aspects of the case revolves around the mansion's advanced security network. The property was equipped with cameras, sensors, and digital recorders, all connected to a central DVR. Police reportedly seized the entire system during their search, describing it as a potential gold mine for evidence. Fisher confirmed that the system had been fully operational until the moment it was unplugged by officers executing the warrant. He said the system recorded not only video, but also detailed sensor logs, including every door opened, every window unlatched, and every movement detected inside the house. However, it remains unclear whether the cameras were active or covered at the time of Celeste's disappearance. Some smoke detectors had been found taped over, possibly to disable motion sensors or obscure camera views. Whether this was done by David, his team, or someone else remains unknown. If recovered footage is usable, investigators may be able to determine who entered and exited the house during the weeks when Celeste is believed to have died, a crucial detail that could finally narrow the timeline. Fisher's work extended beyond physical surveillance. He also pursued digital evidence, online interactions, shared media, and communications between David and those in his circle. He described receiving a tremendous amount of digital material from individuals connected to David, including photos and videos taken inside the Hollywood Hills home. The material allowed him to identify who was present on certain dates. In total, Fisher's team collected thousands of photos and clips documenting the activity inside the house. Among them were images believed to have been taken by David himself on a professional camera, not a phone. While none of those images show Celeste inside the mansion, some depict her in other Los Angeles locations. The last known photograph of Celeste, according to Fisher, was taken on January 2, 2025, months after she was first reported missing. That revelation contradicts early assumptions that Celeste had disappeared permanently in 2024. Fisher believes she may have been staying somewhere else in downtown Los Angeles in the months leading up to her death. While much of Fisher's work focused on timelines and surveillance, he also uncovered items inside the property that raised deeper concerns. Without disclosing specifics, he described scary, sadistic material. Physical objects that suggested there may have been plans to dispose of Celeste's body in a more deliberate way. According to Fisher, these discoveries do not directly relate to how she died, but rather to what might have been intended after her death. He emphasized that while no evidence suggests Celeste was harmed inside the house, some items implied a plan to get rid of her that was never fully carried out. Whether those plans were personal, improvised, or part of something more disturbing remains unknown. All the evidence collected by Fisher was turned over to the LAPD within a day of discovery. As Fisher pieced together the final days before the search, another question emerged. Who had access to the house and the Tesla during the time David was on tour? He confirmed that there was only one key to the property, and according to security logs, someone entered the house between the time the Tesla was abandoned and the date police executed the search warrant. Private security reports from the neighborhood's homeowners association confirmed that motion activity was detected and recorded during that period. However, the video quality was too poor to clearly identify who entered the property. Fisher believes the person who had the house key was the same individual who moved the Tesla. Whether that person was acting alone or under direction remains a critical question. The Los Angeles County District Attorney, Nathan Hochman, has confirmed that the case remains open and active. In a brief statement to reporters, he said no case has yet been presented to his office for prosecution. He added that investigators are still awaiting toxicology results and further forensic testing before determining criminal culpability. The LAPD, for its part, has maintained silence. A spokesperson told media outlets that the cause and manner of death remain undetermined, and it is not yet clear whether a crime was committed beyond the concealment of Celeste's body. Despite public pressure, no arrests have been made. There are no confirmed suspects, yet private investigator Steve Fisher suggests that developments may be forthcoming. Based on his experience, he believes the delay indicates that the medical examiner found no immediate signs of blunt force trauma or gunshot wounds, which means the department is likely waiting on toxicology results to determine if Celeste was poisoned or overdosed. If the latter is confirmed, investigators will face another difficult question: whether her death was accidental or intentional, and who was responsible for concealing her body afterward. Since the discovery, David Burke has not made any public appearances. He has not spoken to the press, issued a statement, or posted on social media. Sources close to the investigation say his legal team and parents may be the only ones who currently know his whereabouts. Even his management team, which handled his lease, appears to have lost contact. In a case already shrouded in silence, his disappearance from public view has only deepened the mystery. Months after the discovery of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains, the questions persist. How did a 14-year-old runaway end up inside a luxury car belonging to a rising music star? Where was she between her disappearance in April 2024 and her confirmed death months later? What role, if any, did others in David's circle play in moving or concealing her body? And what was discovered inside that Hollywood Hills mansion, the house that now sits empty, under police seal? For now, there are no clear answers. The story of Celeste Rivas Hernandez is more than a tragedy. It is a portrait of how fame, secrecy, and silence can intersect in devastating ways. A teenage girl, missing for months, found lifeless inside a Tesla. A musician whose life spiraled overnight into chaos and suspicion. A landlord searching for answers in his own property. And a private investigator uncovering evidence that may yet prove critical. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has said the investigation remains ongoing. No one has been charged. But somewhere within the evidence, in the seized footage, the digital traces, and the unanswered timelines, lies the truth of what really happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez.